We can go ahead and get started. It's about 10 minutes past 6, which is when I scheduled it. So today we're just going to go over the bot, the features, some of the methodology we use to develop it, and some of the data points that it's providing you on all of the signals. And then I'll share some of the back testing. Also, if you have any questions, it's fine to interrupt me if you want me to explain something a little bit more on the bot. So just feel free to turn on your mic and ask a question.
That's great. I got one question straight up if I can. Maybe you want to answer it later, but I'm brand new to the bot. I've literally only joined your group maybe a week ago, relatively new this round of this bull run to meme coin trading. But I'm curious, is the bot just a token finder and then the rest is up to the user to manually buy and then sell when they feel fit? Or does the bot the glorious golden egg where it auto buys and auto sells when it thinks liquidity is tapering off or something?
No, that's a good question. My dev and I talked about that, about adding the ability for the users auto buy and sell, as it goes in. But that would require us to take y'all's wallet and y'all's keys, and we didn't want to be responsible for holding on to those things. I don't know, right? There could be someone that's a hacker that can hack into this Telegram and steal all y'all's keys. So we just agreed that we wouldn't go that route. So does that answer your question? Yeah. The Telegram bots that y'all use, that's essentially what you do. You're giving up your keys and your wallet that are attached to your wallet address. So there's a little bit of risk in using Telegram bots to trade. The little safety tip, you don't ever want to use your full portfolio on a Telegram bot. Just add in the amount of SOL that you're going to trade for that time period and then transfer it out to your main wallet. Don't use your main wallet within any Telegram bot.
No, totally. All right, so this is basically a token finder, and then how one trades it and how long one holds it for is up to the user.
Exactly. Yeah, that was one thing I was really worried about when I started developing this. I don't want anyone getting the perception that, I need to auto buy on my own. Like, have to. Even though I feel the bot is pretty good, we'll go over some of the stats on the back testing. You still have to understand when to enter and when to exit and not being too greedy. For example, when I'm not even using this bot, I always exit at 30% profit, and that's just my rules. You have to have your own rules. You have to have your own risk strategy that you use to protect your initial investment. If you're DGen and you're waiting for that 2x, you're probably going to lose some money doing that right now in this market. It's not a hot market right now. So you just have to adjust your expectations to make profit, and it's highly dependent on the market. So yeah, we can talk more about that.
That's great. That makes a lot of sense. Thanks, especially in this market. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah. Anything else before we start? I can review a lot of the features of the bot.
Yeah, I have a question, if it's possible.
Sure.
On which approach are you trying to find the memes? Are you like some wallets? Just on what?
Yeah, we have a database of close to 200 wallets, 170 that are really fine-combed through, that are really good wallets. It's dependent on wallets, and we're using a lot of the data analytics of what we're using to improve the probabilities of a successful signal.
All right. Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
Is it mostly wallet based, or is it like volume and something like, or is that proprietary?
No. Well, it's dependent on the wallets, quality of the wallets, but it's also dependent on all of this data that we're providing you. And a lot of these, we've analyzed the data, and all of these that are like green dots, it should be like a good one. There's a lot of red dots within here, then not the best one to enter. But obviously, you want to do your research on every one you enter. The other thing you'll notice on these, and this is just based off the data that we've gathered, none of these are under 100K market cap. And this is by design. There's just a lot more rugs happen under 100K. So the entry won't be under 100K. If we were to adjust that, then the volume of signals would be a lot more, and it would lower the probabilities of, at a good entry point and exiting at a profit after you enter. So yeah, it's based on two things: the quality of the wallets that we use, and then how we're really using a novel approach on how we are using those wallets. And then we are also, this is why I kept this, because we just needed more the performance of the bot. And this is something that no one does. There's a couple of bot channels. There's one that's really popular. They charge a pretty decent amount. I have not been in there, but I've been told that it's a lot of calls, and some of them are rugs, and they're not the best. They do call runners, and they always tweet about it all the time. They're calling like X runners all the time. One thing I had noticed with the data on this bot, at least once a week, it does call 100x coin. The chances that you're going to hold on to it for 100x, it's all dependent risk tolerance. So the other thing I wanted to say is just if you're in any other bots and you're paying for them, the volume of calls that there is another, I think it's called degen calls or something like that, but it was calling like 300 calls a day. Right now it's a little down because of the market. But yeah, just like throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks is really the approach that a lot of these other bots use. And yeah, the tweet about, I did this bot called 100x, but what's the probability of the data? Yeah, and that's the thing. You really have to evaluate yourself. And this is what I teach in my
curiosity, how long have you been developing it for? How long's it been a dream and a development for?
Yeah, so honestly, like I said, this really wasn't a dream. This isn't my full-time job to be playing on Solana, right? I just started tweeting about my approach to in scalping meme coins on Solana in December. I had 0 followings on Twitter, and then it just blew up. I think everyone appreciated the accuracy that I was calling these coins. And then I think what separated me from everyone else is I was calling it play by play when I entered, when I exited. And I'm not a KOL, so I'm not shilling shit. Like anything that I'm in, I'm actually, everything that I tweet about, I'm actually in. And I actually say I don't say when I enter or exit, because I don't want people buying because of me. But if you read in between the lines, I'm entering and exiting, because I'll say this is a good entry, or he's going to cross down, this is going to dip. That's your signal to probably sell and don't hold on to it. Yeah, that was when I really started tweeting about it. And then in January, Deb, she actually contacted me and said, hey, I think you're doing some cool stuff. I think I can help you develop your ideas and what you do on Twitter into a bot. That's how that started. So it's been in development since January.
I love the fact she reached out to you. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. Going back to the comment about 150x on, I think it was a coin someone called in the channel. I think that's like the top.
Yeah,
I think it's the record of the channel.
I got like in on it and I called it.
It's you. Dude, that was a nice one. But yeah, and this is what I teach in my course. Like, it's very important to have this self-evaluation of like, what is my trading strategy? And you have to have a plan. You have to have rules set for yourself, right? And you have to follow them every time. And if you are wanting to make consistent profit in this space, you're not going to hold on for those 100, 200Xs. I don't ever ride them, but I'm okay with it. I don't really give a shit if I miss them. A coin is independent. Like, I go out at 30%. If I feel good about the coin, I'll leave that 30% in there. If I don't think it's going to rebound or it's going to go higher, then I'll sell it all. And then I may go enter it again, depending on if the chart looks like it's going to rebound again. The thing with trading in Solana is, and I think this is a lot of why people lose money, is they don't have a plan. They don't strategically think, this is what I'm going to do when I'm going to enter. This is my percent. If it comes back down and I don't, I'm in a loss, how much loss am I going to take until I sell? Or am I just going to back hold and hope it comes back up? Like, you're going to get wrecked. And if you do that all the time, you're not going to make a lot of money in this space. You have to have a plan. But yeah, if you're using this bot, you can't, again, highly stress that you can't go in and auto buy every time it signals a call and expect that it's going to go do a 100x or 50x. Even though some of the probabilities of that, not the 100x, but the probabilities of it doing a 2 to 4x are pretty high. It's been like out of for 75% or over a 2 to 4x. But I'll show that data in a little bit. Does that make sense? I guess any other questions or concerns before I go over the
Sense.
Yeah. Gonna do a quick search because this is your signal to probably the higher probability coin that comes through this bot is, and there's another thing is if you pay attention, it'll signaling a call, like keep signaling. If you see this signal back to back, it means there's a lot of interest and attention on it. So that could be a signal to hold a little bit longer, but again, I wouldn't use the bot to make that decision. You have to have your own rules set up in place. So yeah, a fresh token will have the purple color of the squares. So this is the first time it called. And then the white ones is a repeat call. So on this example here, it called it 10 times. Then it had a refresh call. There was a period of time where it maybe dipped, but then there was interest again on it. So those are the refresh. They have already been called one time. But this physical gold is a good example of the parameters that we found with the back testing, a potential for a good play. And you'll see it with the nerd emoji up here at the top. So if you're in the channel, you see this nerd emoji here, that should probably pique your interest that this might be a decent play. And then you can see here, they called 4 or 5 all the way, did it 10 times. There was just a lot of interest. And then this is 12:24. Okay, so it was about 20 minutes, almost 20 minutes later, it called it again. So 5.9, yeah, pretty crazy, yeah. Went from 700K to, this is a, yeah. Oh, this is a different coin. This one's here. Yeah, so it looked like it dipped, and then it held it again at 608K market. Yeah, see the emoji signal. Not all of the calls or the signals will have that. There's an ability to search on Twitter. So this X search will automatically open up your Twitter account and search it for this address. It'll give you quick narrative. So you'll understand a little bit more what this one is about if you click on the X search. GMGM will open up a window and just open up GMGM for the signal quality. So this is how much SOL that the wallet's bought. So I mean, just make the assumption. So if they're spending a lot of SOL within this signal, possibly that's a good sign that they're interested in the call or in this coin. And this here shows the percentage that sold, right? They could have just scalped real quick, right? They bought and then they sold, but here it says they sold 48%.
I had a question.
Yeah.
General knowledge, but what is a good percentage of the dev sold versus not sold?
This isn't the dev sold. This is those that are buying into this coin.
Lovely. Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah. This is like you think of this as like the answer, the attention of the buyer that initiated or helped the bot call a signal this coin. Yeah.
Got it. Lovely. Thank you.
Yeah. To answer your question, my approach with the dev holding and the dev selling, I don't want to buy a coin if the dev's still holding, or if I buy in, I'm watching until the dev sells, because usually when the dev sells, everyone panic sells also, and then the coin just dies. So this runner rate is based off the wallet, so their win rate and their profit within a 30-day window. So that's what that is. This window is within a period of time. So the bot will wait a period of time and wait for the parameters that we are telling it to look for. And then this is the time that it within this window. For example, this one took 24 minutes to meet that threshold. If you notice, I believe over 20 minutes this is where my dev put the circle, which should be a caution. But this is not 100% on everything, right? There's variability in everything. I mean, this eventually, when they called it at 104K, and then let me see the last one. So this was like a next from the first signal to the 10th signal. And I think it went to like, where physical gold go to? This is like, once you're in the coin, you're really not really paying attention to your is on the chart after you decide that if you want to enter or not. But this one went to 2 million at the top. But this one was almost X, yeah. But again, if you're using the strategy that I'm using is, okay, I'm buying, let's say I am buying, maybe 1 to 2 SOL, and then I sell my initials at 30%. Let's just use the 1 SOL for an example because it's easy math. I buy at 1 SOL, I sell at 30%, so I have 0.3 SOL in it still if I sell my initials, and then that 0.3 will multiply as high as the coin will go. There's no risk after that, right? I've taken my initials out, I've made profit, but the profit is staying in the play, and if it's going high all the way to 50x, great. That's no risk. I don't have to stress or have anxiety about anything about losing my what I put in, right? And that's one strategy, right? You have your own strategy. I know some people take the 50% at a profit, take maybe 25% every time it goes a little bit more. I think I'm simple, and I enter and exit, and the first thing I want to do is protect my initials. So that initials in there and let it run. And if it doesn't, that's 0.3 SOL that it's not SOL, right? It's it's within the coin that either it died out and I didn't sell it and I lost it, which isn't a big deal to me. So call window, and then we just have the basic stats. So all bots have these, the age of the coin, the liquidity. I've also added these metrics here, volume over liquidity, and then liquidity over market cap. And if you pay attention to these numbers, you can definitely see something is off if liquidity is low, or volume is very high, that it's over inflated and it doesn't match the market cap. That's another thing to pay as you learn how to use the bot. The typical audit supplies is the liquidity burnt. There's no man. The top 10% is within a good range. And obviously you have holder count and then DEX profile paid, which these are all just standard for any bot, standard information other than the volume, the ratio of volume and liquidity market cap. We have 2-minute trading volume and then 1 hour trading volume. I always use 5-minute volume whenever I trade, especially after the bondage. So I have that there because I use it. You don't have to use it if that's not what you use. If you focus on 1 hour volume, that's fine as well. But 5 and 1 hour volume are there. And then supply distribution. These are really important to pay attention to, right? So the percentage of the top 10 holders that hold you don't really want over 20, 25%. Here you have the top 3, right? Usually if there's one person that's holding a lot of supply, I think 4% is kind of high for one person. But that's there as well. Again, it's stuff you're trading on your preference, what you use to enter coin for risk.
If I may, the trading, you mentioned that you use the 5-1. How do you use it? Are you just looking for a certain number for it to be above a certain value?
Yeah. On this chart, I have it over 100K every 5 minutes. But like runners, you'll see them over 1 million every 5 minutes. Like the big runners, it's not to see that high. If it's a trading volume, it's just low trading volume, right? You have to pay attention to the buy and sells at that point. There could be very low trading volume, but the chart still moves up because there's just more buyers than sellers. But yeah, for preference, I like when I filter for coins that I'm looking post-bond, I'll look for coins over 50K to 100K a volume for 5 minutes.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah.
I got a question. How often does this thing catch like dead coins? Because I think you've posted a few that it's caught, but stuff like when it starts moving.
Yeah, I mean, then there's the wallets that we are tracking. If you know what I mean,
Right.
if it will call it. Yeah.
Okay.
Data I'll show you, but for these older coins because we have 2 models running within this Telegram channel, and then when the older coins that are older 77 minutes, it improves it that's a little bit better. So yeah, some do run, but there's others that just I don't know. You play they'll get CTO'd and someone will run them up and then they'll just rug it, sell it off.
Well,
so that'll happen sometimes here also. Yeah. And it's all dependent on when the buy as well, right? So like you have to use your head a little bit on the looking chart if it's a good entry, right? If it looks like if it's already, and we talk about that in the Telegram bot, like we talk Gake, the DNF, he's a pretty good trader, but sometimes, a lot of times he buys the top, right? So you don't really want to buy the top and then hold it. Yeah.
Shit, my wallet.
I have a question really quick too, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
I came a little late, and I Twitter space I need to run in a few minutes. I'm going to be here for a couple minutes. I was just wondering, cause I'm following this kind of passively over the past few weeks. Is this something that can be accessible, and is this in like a subscription, or how are you doing this?
Yeah, it's a model. So we're starting off at 2 Sol a month, and then depending number of people that join, and if we have the referral links to these trading bots here, if they use them, and we can recoup some of the cost, then I've talked to my dev, and we don't drop in the price. I know, like I think
that's a good price, honestly. I mean, compared to other people charging much more for a much worse product.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said earlier. Is I have a good friend of mine that's been in this space for a while, told me to actually charge like 10 Sol, get like exclusive, but I don't know, man. Like I in this to make money. I'm following my Twitter, everyone in my Telegram, probably most of them, like that I'm not here to scam anyone or to make money off people. I'm here to help. I'm here to improve the space. So I'm trying to reduce the cost as much as possible, and then make it to where everyone can have a chance at winning. So that's kind of my philosophy with this.
So how are you like accepting payment for this? Is there like a portal to it, or are you just
my dev, it's going to code something in the channel, but like their job as well. She just for some other, she doesn't do degens. That's not her job, but
right.
In a couple of weeks she's going to add that in. But for right now, I'm just taking a spreadsheet and adding people to it, and then once I see the transaction come to the bot wallet, we have a bot wallet that we'll share, and then I'll add to the
cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Phil.
And I appreciate that input. Like if I've been in this space, like, and you had to enter other channels and bots, you'll know they're charging almost 5, than what I'm charging.
Yeah, I mean, a 75% win rate is pretty good deal.
Yeah.
I have size to play with. You'll make your tool probably in an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, just want to contribute and say that I think, based subscribers, that I was the first person to join, and I'm already like 25% of what I put in, I'm getting back.
Awesome.
And you tipped too. That's funny. I know. I appreciate that. I mean, it's me, because we're all in this because of the memes, and you comment right off the bat. Yeah, thanks. We can go on with some of the other descriptors here. We also can, and this is a beta process, right? We want to really gather user input. So if you notice, you catch something that, hey, like this is on the runners, like I'm noticing, Sol balances always, over, like that's like we don't have a green dot for that. We need to look at the data and put, the gain for that amount. But yeah, anything you can provide input, we're looking at that right now in the beta process. This is the top Sol balance. So within the coin, this is the amount of Sol that's invested in the top 10 wallets. The thing that we looked at that we added in was the top 10 wallets that have less than 0.1 Sol. And this is just based off my experience studying these scammers, what their approach to regging. Usually there's a program and they'll disperse or bundle several wallets, but those wallets will have less than 0.1 Sol. So we put that in here as well. If this is high, then that's not a good thing. There's a lot of wallets with less than 0.1 Sol. There's that. My dev also noticed that some of the top 10 wallets, if they have less than 1 Sol, that may be a red flag. I haven't really picked that up or noticed that, but she did, so she added that in. But this was a call for this coin, this example. We also have the top 4, the percentage of the supply, the top 4 of the wallets hold, which is a good indicator of the quality of the coin. First 70, this is the data that GM gives, which is the data that I look at. So I want to know where the first 70 buyers, where they're at. Where are they at? Are they still in the coin, or did they sell out? I like to see them gone. I don't want someone that bought on Pump and that's holding. You see it all the time. They paid like, Solana, and they have like 2% of supply, and they're holding it into like 1 million too, and they start slow selling. It's like a slow rug. So I attention to what the first 70 buyers, so on this one here, 38% are still holding the coin. Actually, 38% bought supply, right? The first 70 bought 38%, but 6%, my bad, of that first 70 still hold the coin. So in my experience, that's a good thing, and it showed to be a good thing here as well. So low percentage of the first 70 holders is to use a judgment call. Yeah, just more data. We leave a lot of relative percentage because it kind of normalizes between coins. So 37% of the supply is bundle. But these are not like there's this concrete, right? I mean, the newbies that have a little bit of soul in their wallet, and they some of the coin, they have a little bit of soul left to sell. So it's not that every one of these are associated with scammer having 0.1 soul in the wallet left. The other thing I look at is market cap to holder count to market cap, and then we normalize it also to the age of the coin. And the green dots is just that we've back tested and we've looked at that supports that a potential profitable coin entered at this mark with this data combined is or close to a good entry. The other thing is for each of these signals, like it's not to be a general Telegram chat. You have to actually go into that coin, and if you want to have discussion with everyone else, you can have a discussion there for that coin. So that's also been a traditional channel where everyone is in one channel. Yeah. So the purple one, which is the first one, again, pay attention to this nerd emoji there. That's high probability that it meets a lot of the parameters that we've set for the bot. And then these other ones, if you see them just keep coming in, then it's probably, that just gives you more confirmation that there's interest in this coin. That depend strategy, sell your initials or sell a percentage of your investment, and then you could have confidence that it'll keep going a little bit further. And then the orange one is...
I got a question from Dr. Crip, who hasn't got a microphone apparently, in the group chat. He says, you mentioned the bot was a 75% win rate. When is call considered a win exactly, from Dr. Crip?
Yeah, I that data a little bit. The 75% over we have 75%. Let me see. So it depends, and I'll show you all the data. And a lot of the performance of the bot depends on the market conditions. So I'm correlating a lot of these win rates with the price of Solana, and it really moves with the price of Solana. But I'll show it in a little bit. I'll switch over my screen to this Excel sheet, and I can show you all the data in a few. But that is it's greater than a 2x for the rate. There's some that it's 80% for a 2x. I had one day where it was 95% on a greater than 1.5x. The majority of days are the greater than 1.5x are above between 70, and we hit a 95% on March 7th. So a 50% profit. Yeah.
I don't know how many calls a day.
We're averaging than 20. It's been
Nice.
around. It's the past couple of days. Yeah, but that's just Solana. The price has dropped to like 123 on average.
Since the trenches are like a little.
Yeah, I think it's thin, right? So a lot of these wallets are being more careful, and they're, when going and entering and exiting. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how this thing's gonna really perform when it gets back over to 150. Because we were at 140 that we hit a 95% win rate on greater than 50% profit, 80% win rate at a 2x, 55% win rate at a greater than 4x, and then a 25% win rate at a greater than 6x. So, I mean, one was doing a 6x more on that day when Solana was 143. Yeah, I'll share it in a little bit, and I'll go over the methodology on how I backtest the data, so it's clear. Like, we're not fudging numbers, and we're actually, I don't know if you're familiar with the Dune website, where it has all of the analytics and data from the blockchain, Solana blockchain, where we're pulling that from. Yeah, I'll show you a little bit. Yeah, I'll show. I think that, yeah. So they go over these calls. They'll just come in when they meet the parameters, and then like this last call. The other thing is, like I said, this is a testing. I mean, we're in the process right now, and we're continually refining it, back testing the data, making a couple of tweaks and modifications. And you'll see here when the price of Solana really dipped, and then we made some adjustments to the bot. It made it so it's a process, but we'll let the group know if we made any changes. And this is with the one model of there's two models here. The other model is pretty good. It's a bot. This is the actual, I'd say it's like the closer finished version, and then we have the testing. Whatever, when we get the data, do some back testing, we see that the median of the data is moving in one direction, and there's we're running as well statistical significance between the runners and the non-runners, or the ones that don't go within a 1.5x. Then we'll make adjustments based off of the statistical analysis. Yeah, so there's environment, and then there's the actual bot. But within this bot that you enter in this channel, it has both models working in this channel. Yeah.
And how summarize the differences between the two? What's one focus versus the other one?
Yeah. So the average, and I'll share it here. The average, and I'll show you what happened when we changed. It got bad, but I think it also got bad because of Solana. But also we have to, like in research, have a control where we can make the comparison to the data that we're making changes or modifying, to see if there's a significant difference. So the Nebula bot is kind of like the data analysis. So it's not in that bad. It's pretty stable on average over the past from March 7th to March 12th. It was 71% of the calls was greater than 50% profit. And then let's see.
Out of curiosity, have you optimized trading with the bot? Have you optimized what your stop loss is? Like, are you doing it?
Yeah. I mean, if the data could set your stop losses, it's one thing that we haven't really gone and look at, and that's on my to-do list as well, is for all of right when the signal is called, I want to know, does the chart dip, right? What percent dip does that after the signal of where the market cap? And then based on that, we could make suggestions on a percent stop loss. So I haven't done this. I really just go off the chart, right? It's like,
I get it. Manually looking. Yeah.
I'm using the give me some potential plays, and I know there's high probability. So I'm more confident using on a coin that I want to enter, especially if it gives me that nerd emoji. I feel pretty confident with that. But yeah, based on and that's just how I trade, and that's probably how everyone trades, right? You're looking at chart patterns. I use the MACD and moving averages. Then I'm looking at like the number of waves the chart is printing over the support line, etc. If it continues the trend line. So and then.
Would you be willing to go over the trend line real? Because I've been trying to chart it, and I feel like I'm just doing it wrong. If you don't have time, that's totally cool. I'm sure I can look.
Yeah, just remind me towards the end. Pull up a chart.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I haven't really set stop loss based off of this data because I haven't analyzed it. I haven't gone that deep yet.
No, it's all good. I keep on looking this through the filter of trying to push this through some Telegram trading bot, right? Because you could use this as a signal to auto buy and then figure out 30% like set take profit is easy, and then trades through an algo would tell you the optimum stop loss would be, right, without interfering too much with the winnings. But that's for me because I want to automate the whole thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, we just assume it stays consistent at 50%, like 75% signals are 50% profit, like that. And there's already someone in the Telegram group. I don't know if he's in here, but he's already thinking of that as well. Like that's exactly what I'm thinking. Like you can do and run your own analysis. Like how many one sold buys for each coin am I going to be up if I take profits at 50% and let the rest run an additional 50% or 100%? You know what I mean? Because there's going to be at least one, or maybe 2 and 4, depending on Solana price of the market and the parameters where it isn't a good. But again, it's dependent on you. Like it doesn't, and that's the other thing that I have here as well is the time to all-time high. You can also look at as well to make your assessment on how to use the spot, which I haven't. I mean, I provided everyone to look at on Google Sheets, so it's for everyone to look at, and they can evaluate and keep it as much as they want. But yeah, at the same exactly, you could set up a strategy, and you can actually math it out. Like if I put one sold, 3 days, if it's out of every 4 coins, I'm up 50% or more. One coin, I may be at a loss or even break even, because that's the other thing. It may be a bad call, but you're the one it's your judgment to enter the coin or just exit if it's a break even point, right? Or you put the stop loss at the stop loss that you use, usually like maybe 10 or 20%. Wherever you're comfortable at a loss.
Yeah, totally get it. No, thanks, man.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, I think with the signals, and just stress these trading bots, they have the reference code for the bot channel, which the bot channel will make profit if you're using that. And then we could lower the 2 SOL is still too much for a lot of people, which I don't mind doing. But yeah, that's as well. We talked opening this channel up, so we can just chat as we do in the free Telegram channel that I have there, where everyone's discussing the coins as they're popping up. But that may clutter. There may be just constant calls coming in if it's like a repeat good coin. You just have to enter a comment section within that coin to start.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah,
one paid sub that I'm part of, Ben Cohen's Into the Crypto, is that he has an alerts channel, which would be what you see on screen here. And then you're allowed, and then you can make comments on it, and that goes into a separate chat group. So it shows up as a comment on the post, and then shows up in a separate chat group as well. So I don't know whether that would help. So if you're interested in conversation, you can skip the alerts. You just go straight to the conversation channel. I don't know how we set it up, but I've seen it like that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, it probably just auto forwards it into another group. A big group.
Must do.
Yeah.
No screen grabs to help you with that.
Yeah. I'd be interested in if he does that. Again, that's the thing I want feedback on is that because I want everyone in help each other out. I think that's one thing I stress in the other Telegram channel, and I think it's a strength with our group is that we all work together and we're researching the coin. Everyone's giving their input and deciding if it's a go or not, which is something that I would like to have going with this within this bot. Is it better to have it within each coin and then have that discussion there? Because you know what I mean? If you're in it, you're in it. And if you just missed it, you're not in it, you're not going to be paying attention to that. So you'll probably go on to another coin. But that's another feedback that I'm for. Is it better to do, as you suggested, maybe forward it to a big chat room, a group chat where everyone's talking about different coins? Or is it okay just to have within each coin, the comments?
Somehow make it so that all comments, because you know how 10 calls for gold. I've never seen this. I don't know how you could do it, but if you could somehow make it so that all comments on post 2, 3, 4, 5 down 10 all showed up on post 1, that would make sense, right? That would be cool.
Yeah, it's good. Probably turn them off for the repeat calls and just have them.
And maybe do a Telegram link to that Telegram message first call, so you can go like leave a comment here, and you'll hyperlink to that first call. Yeah.
Good point. Any before I move on to I'll share the data and our approach. Okay, let me see if I can get out of here. Shit. Oh, there it is. Okay. Share screen. Oh, there. Okay. Share screen. Okay. All right. So the just go over how we back test the data. So when the bot signals the call, we have the data that we get for all of the calls. And like it's nothing. This is since March 7th for all of this data in this tab here. But we, like I said, we have in two models that we're testing. One testing environment, which has a lot less calls, but they're higher quality. And then this is Nebula bot, more calls, but it's not no 102 that I've seen these other bots do. And again, it's dependent on the we set. So we can kind of change the parameters like levers. You can imagine 4 or 5 levers, and we're adjusting the parameters to those levers to kind of fine tune the performance of. That's essentially what we're doing, if you can kind of visualize that. But my need of that data, and like this is all of the data so far that we've been collecting on. We really started analyzing and collecting at the end of January here, February. Anyways, I'll get the address, the timestamp, and then I'll go over to Dune, and there's actually a setup on Dune where I have to convert the timestamp and the contract address, and I'll hit run. And what this does, it'll give me the all-time high price. So based off the timestamp that I put and the contract address, it'll search Solana, check the block time with those different comparisons, and then it'll give me an actual peak all-time high price. And then from that, I get the X gains from that, based on that data. Pretty straightforward, but just nobody's doing this. I just want to stress that nobody's back testing their bot, and they're also not providing their data. So they can be showing the 100, 200,000 X gains on Twitter and brag about the P&Ls. But how many calls it take to get that one? So that's how we get the X gains for every that we fall. Oh, this is timestamp. This here. This is the most. And then I just go in, sort out by X gain. I'll mark them. I'll group them, right? I want to know the coins that are less than 1.4x. I consider those. I mean, but it's depending on your behavior, your trading behavior, on your risk tolerance. Are you going to hold it longer, or you're just going to sell it because you think it's going to, you want to break even? These may not even be losses, but I I have to classify the variables in order to. So for me, a less than 1.4x is a negative. And then anything within 1.5, then I start seeing those as positives, because again, this is just based off my trading strategy that I take a profit at 30x. At 30%, if I'm at 30%, then I'm good there for that trade. And again, like someone mentioned, it's all dependent on size, right? So if you're going in you're selling at 50%, that's a pretty good trade. That trade, right? You're leaving with 2.5 for one single trade. And I'll have all this on Google spreadsheets for all of y'all to look at, to give y'all more confidence. And you can also, it'll kind of help you determine if it's worth it for you to buy into the channel. So I'll put them for less than 1.4x, and then 1.5x, 2x, 4x, 6, greater than 6x, and then total. And then I also have them to all-time high, because we have those two variables of the data I inputted in Dune, and the all-time high that Dune website gives me. It also gives you the time to all-time high. So you can kind of get an idea of how you have to hold to make that X gain, right? For example, let me sort this.
This is obvious. And the time to all-time high is from the bot's call time high, yeah?
Yep, from the all-time high. Yep.
Yeah, lovely.
Yep. Right, so some of these had to hold them up quite a bit. Like, what is this one here? This one you had to hold for, and these are in minutes, I believe. Yeah, these are minutes. 66x. Like, I mean, if you understand probabilities of, like, what's the chance, right? What's that I'm going to enter in a coin, one, that's going to do a 100x, and then two, the chance that I'm going to control my emotions to hold it that long, right? You would have had to held this one here for over 5,000 minutes, right? Yeah, that's why I just don't care about the 100x's. It's better to be consistent, wishing for this 60 or 100x, because you're going to hold this 60 or 100x too long on this 2x here, this 1.9x here, right? Or you're going to hold this 2x here for 5 minutes. Like, you're going to expect a 60 or x. It's just playing the game within your mind, right? You have to just change your expectations. But I mean, it's all, I mean, that risk, you don't care to lose that money. I guess it doesn't really matter, but it's just personal preference on your style. But yeah, so this data is, and again, this was since March 7th, and you see there was only a total of 157 calls since, I'm sorry, the timestamp. Yeah, this timestamp's different, the all-time high. So I have to open this up, which is kind of annoying because there's so much data that we're collecting.
I just want to hop in and say that it's absolutely mind-boggling how much data you're comparing, and I wouldn't even know where to start.
Yeah, I think that's what. Yeah, I mean, if I have that I'm just like lying and LARPing, like this, like I can kind of. I'm a data science, right? And you have to understand statistics probability to even approach using this method to try to find a good meme coin. Try to come up with a method, money in this space. Because I don't think there's anything out there doing this. I really don't. I think there's probably some AI bots that may be doing it. I haven't really found anything that's really using math and statistics and data science to call, different calls or signals. But yeah, get that comment though. There's been a lot of to the stuff that I do, but it has taken time away from stuff that I've been working on.
Doesn't go unnoticed, and it's very much appreciated.
Yeah, man, thanks for that. But yeah, so they have the timestamp of it signaled, and then the all-time high timestamp of what Dune gives us here. Between those two gives us the time of the call and then the all-time high. But this one here was deer, so I mean that was a good on that one. That one, again, based off narrative, I would have held that one just because the narrative was strong, right? So that's another component that you have to think about when you're trading these. I think like maybe over 60-70% of coin is driven by a narrative. And that narrative drives the attention of how many people are going to be interested in buying that coin, which is correlated to the price or the market cap of that coin, how high it's going to go up. Yeah, any questions about the methodology of data? And here's this here. I don't know if y'all can see it, but I just kind of did a quick comparison to the Solana and the probability of these percentages here. And you can see when Solana is over 140, the price of Solana, the bot it's calling some at 50% gain over, pretty close 95%, 95%.
The price is the probability, the success rate of the bot. I
think so. I think it does a little bit, but it kind of makes sense. Are you trading a lot right now? Did you see Solana dipping to 120, 100?
Okay, the health of the market, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And if these are dependent, we're tracking. So yeah, I mean it will affect it. I think when I'm seeing the correlation.
See it in the health of the market. I totally get it. Yeah.
What was I going to say? The other thing is like it's again. I feel like we have really wallets, and we're not seeing that as well. And before early, like in January, we noticed like when there was was dropping, was when it was dropping, and was, oh, we're gonna, Solana's going to zero. Like the sentiment of the market, great, right? Everyone was bearish. Within one time, I think whenever that Libra like just sucked the liquidity out, like that during that time, we definitely noticed the wallets were becoming more riskier. They were taking more risk, and the signals were started. They were okay, but they weren't as good as they are right now. But I feel like as we keep refining it and we keep analyzing the data and back testing it, and again, we're back testing it based. That's why I only have up to March 7th, because the market conditions were different in February. When the market conditions change, it'll affect the performance of the bot. But I guess the last thing I want to show y'all here is these two, the green here and then the yellow. So this yellow here is the Nebula bot data. I don't know if you can see, if I need to kind of make it bigger. Yeah. So those groups, I jagged them up. I grouped them up to less than 1.4x and then greater than 50%. Yeah, you see on average from March 7th to March 12th in about 80%. And that's including these red days here that were not great. But we, like I said, modifications to the parameters, which the bot not perform well on these 2 days. But then you see here, March 13th, we changed it back and it went back up to over 75%. But on average, 80% within, I guess, 2 weeks of data, then 50%, greater than 2x, 66%, and then greater than 4x, and then greater than 6. 1 in 4 of the calls were greater than 6x. I'm pretty damn good, if you ask me. 1 in 4 of the calls were greater than, obviously it's greater than 6x. They're going to be in groups as well. But 75%, 3 in 4 of those were greater than 50%. And then 1 of the 4 were less than, 40% profit. So this is the testing environment, and this is the bot. And we have both of these signals going into the Nebula bot channel. But like I said before, if you pay attention to the emoji, like that should be your indicator, your indicator that that's a good, based off all the parameters that all the data that shows it's a good probability.
Without going into how you guess have you got an alarm that tells you the duty, or like because if wallet is your main input, which do your bot's an aggregator of wallet activity, right? Yeah. Do you look for new wallet one? Like how are you keeping the? This is my question.
Yeah, sure. I have the bots. The wallets that we track, and you think this is on analyzing meme coin data, like we're doing the same with the wallets. All the way down to the win rates and the profitability. Like every wallet is carefully evaluated. I'm one tip I use to make a good wallet. If those of y'all are tracking wallets, you want a wallet that has a lot of transactions, because they're just hoping something runs, right? They obviously have a lot of they have funds to play in. Once every coin that Pumpa and bonds are on Pumpa, and they're able to make those losses up on a big win. If you're tracking wallets and you have the data wallets, if it's high transactions and they have a decent win rate, I stay away from those. I look for a high quality wallet is a wallet that has low transactions and has a high win rate. And I look at the win rate over a month, over a 30-day period. And a lot of the wallets we track, they're like 80, over maybe 70, 80% win rate.
I just want to come in. I think I remember talking about Odin bot, which the dev for that dropped like a wallet scraper, and it's a open source. Might be worth something. Worth checking out. It's called
message.
I'll DM it to you.
I also noticed that I mentioned it earlier, that the age of the coin, those don't perform that well. But when I remove those, it improves the performance of the bot even a little bit more. This is old data here. You can see we removed the older than 60 minutes. If the coin's 60 or more, I've revised that to over like 80 minutes. If they're over 80 minutes, and of that data, then it improves these percentage win rates here. the probabilities here. Yeah. So yeah, overall, this data here is feeding into bot also data as well. And just the big takeaway is if you see that nerds, then that's a signal that it's probably a good one that will do okay.
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
What's the difference between those two? So I didn't quite catch that. So the bottom one is from the Nebula only, and the top one from...
It's the testing environment. So the Nebula is a little bit stable. It's giving more consistent results. Testing environment, or you can see the results are better, but they're different. The parameters of what we're telling the bot to look for are different than the Nebula bot. But you can see here that we gave it was obviously some bad parameters that we were testing out that weren't that great for the testing environment data. And then on top of that, Solana dropped to like 123 on this day as well, which may have contributed a little bit to it. But we changed the parameters back and it improved it back up.
Or the accurate numbers are the bottom one, right? For the bot?
Well, yeah, both of the calls or models are feeding into that one channel. You don't really know. It's just the Nebula bot channel. How do I say this? This is really just for us. We have this using the data for the Nebula bot as the control. And the testing environment is where we're changing the parameters to see if we can fine tune it to get better results. But eventually this testing environment will become the Nebula bot. And the goal is to make my goal is to make it 95% this every single day. That's my goal. If I can do that consistently, then everybody that's in the channel will win. They should win if they're smart about entry and exits. I should say that. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's it. Anything else before I close this? And then I want to have a talk about how to find coin. I would like to get some going on the group before. I think someone wanted me to look at some charts. I can do that also here.